Well, here's the commentary for this last week's episode.
Yeah, there's a funny story behind this, and we will talk about that as the video progresses.
And here comes the opening scene.
Yes.
Ready?
Oh, there's an error right there. Do you see that?
That was my mistake.
Oh, man, that hurts. So if you're watching this video, you're watching it on our second channel, SciPro Extras. Make sure to check out the main video where you can actually hear the sounds and enjoy the video in its entirety.
On SciPro Paranormal and Urban Exploration.
Yes. So this clip talks about how great Gary's school system is, how they have one of the strongest school systems in the nation, and we know that nowadays that's not true. In fact, the school system is so broke that they don't know how they're going to continue in the following school years.
There's that Patreon account sitting down there. If you want to go visit our Patreon account, feel free to do so. The URL's right there. We put a lot of love and hours into our work and videos for the paranormal and urban exploration. It all comes out of our pocket and all of our time, so there's no funding for the group. So if you would like to support us and be part of it, that was the link. The outside of that school is very immaculate. It looks really nice even to today's standards. You step into that school, it is a totally different story, as you will very well see. As a reminder, this is just the commentary for this track, and the actual video is housed on our primary channel, SciPro Paranormal and Urban Exploration. Go check it out. Subscribe.
Horace Mann High School initially started out as a white-only school and was actually one of the slowest schools to desegregate. In the 1960s, the barriers came down and it became an integrated school. This is according to sometimeinteresting.com. So looking at this school, like Mike said, it looks like a regular school, and then you walk in there and it seems like one day in 2004 they decided to close the doors, board it up, and leave it as is. So a lot of the stuff is still there. The furniture is still there. The classrooms look like they were left in operational shape, and it just looks like it could have been used again in the future.
What was that?
That is a piece of paper from 1987. It was actually a letter to other advertisers to advertise in the school paper.
And that is the entrance to the main school, and we're actually in the main school. We really wanted to check out the auditorium, which is just steps in front of us, and we're just kind of getting our bearings. And yeah, the GPS signal on my phone was still enabled, so I was saying that was lost. This place was absolutely
it's gone.
Just charred.
Yeah, it definitely does not look like the other Urban Explorers videos at all.
Right. It actually, I think a couple of weeks before we did our exploration, they had a fire that was set. I believe it was intentionally in that auditorium, and that is the aftermath of that fire.
That fire got every single chair in that room.
Luckily, the building is made of concrete, and as we all know, concrete
doesn't burn.
It does not. So the rest of the school is intact, but that auditorium is gone. Hey, that guy.
Hey, look, there's Jamie.
Hey.
Meth lab.
Hey, me.
We're trying to, I was trying to, get Jamie to, say this was a meth lab issue.
Right. A lot of the places that we go to have been burnt down because they are meth labs or are former meth labs. So I tend to always jump to the conclusion of, hey, meth lab. That's just how I am. So, fancy shot here. And I do a slow pan. And here's another mic shot of the backstage.
Yeah, it looks like the last time they used it was for some kind of winter scene or Christmas, or maybe it was the prom. Maybe it was the prom. They have the white lights and stuff in the prom.
That could be why we saw a lot of White Castle,
Like
which you'll see later in the video.
Because of a prom? People eat White Castle and prom.
What did you eat at prom?
Steak.
Oh, I had White Castle.
Ah!
I didn't,
That's
but
funny.
all right, so this is the first gym. This school had 2 gyms, and let me tell you a little bit about this school, okay? This school is separated into pods. So you have one pod, then you have to go down a set of stairs, into the basement, up another set of stairs to get to the other portion of the school. Then down a set of stairs, through a hallway, and then up a pair of stairs to go to another set of schools, or the other part of the school. And basically, there's one entrance, one exit from the school. Everything else is still boarded up. And basically, one way in, one way out. If there's anyone in this school, anybody that shouldn't be there, that seems like a shady cat, then you're pretty much trapped because there's one entrance, one exit. And this is probably the most scared I have ever been doing an urban exploration.
And the reason he was scared is because we have rules, and we always stick to those rules to stay safe. And one of the rules is that we know where our exits are at all times. And unfortunately, we didn't know that there was only one entrance and one exit. And we finally figured that out in the basement.
Right. And I was hearing other people walking around the place when we were in the basement area later in this video. And I was starting to get worried because it was becoming dusk outside. It was we were trapped, and that's what I was worried about. We could get cornered at any time. These classrooms are empty, and the basement of this place is pitch black. There you cannot see anything. The only lights that we had were the lights on our camera.
And you're going to have to also understand, for that first clip to be totally understood, during the time that we were in the gym, there was a random golf club that was in
The gym.
like right up against that desk. And I just pick up random pipes or whatever comes to mind in case we actually run into somebody. So we carried that throughout the whole time with us. So just keep that in mind at the very end.
And what you're seeing now is a lot of the shots of the things that were left behind. Again, these things are in really good shape. I mean, it's 2017 now when you're watching this video. It could be the future, who knows. But this is abandoned in 2004. This stuff has been sitting there for a lot of years. I'm not going to do the math because that would be embarrassing.
That mural, or that actual scene right there, kind of reminds me, for some reason, of Pink Floyd's The Wall. But it's not. It's definitely not The Judge, but reminds me of Pink Floyd-esque.
Yeah, somebody was either a fan or was probably as high as Pink Floyd was when they recorded The Wall. So, again, textbooks were left behind. You'll see a lot more of those later on. And as you saw earlier, trophies. There are a lot of trophies. JROTC are the trophies that you'll see scattered throughout the entire building.
And in this scene, I was having a hard time remembering the phrase home ec,
I'm looking for the word
which
home ec.
I have a feeling that room was probably a home ec room.
And this is the Lightning poster. So this magazine, August 26th, 2002. Pretty old magazine, in excellent shape, but probably one of the last things that was ordered at that school 2 years before closure. It's weird to think how many people were probably looking at that magazine. So this is that same room that you saw earlier, and I just recognized that. That's an old Apple IIe computer, and I totally geek out when I see old technology because I have a lot of memories of using the Apple IIe computers throughout my school year.
And he really wants to get his hands on one so he can play Oregon Trail again.
Yeah, I always die of dysentery, but it's always fun to die of dysentery in that game. This is actually the science room. So Mike thought it was the home ec room. This is actually the same room.
That's the same room?
This is the same room.
It doesn't say, like, it doesn't have that graffiti on the wall.
It does.
Okay.
And so, yeah, this might be the chemistry lab, and this is a different room. And as you'll see
I think
here,
it's like a science room because of the aquarium.
they had an aquarium, and that's pretty fancy.
Well, not now.
Yeah, but I bet there were lobsters in there.
That is a blast from the past. On the actual main channel, we asked if any of the viewers under 18 knew what that was. That's a floppy disk for those that don't know. Those held about, like, what, 5 or 6 files?
Yeah,
And
you
that
get
was it.
5 or 6 Word documents, and then you're on to the next one. So again, this school completely trashed. I take it that what wound up happening was people probably went through everything looking for anything of value. There's something of value right there, which they trashed, but they pretty much took anything that had any value in that school and just destroyed it.
Didn't you tell me like somewhere along the line that in perfect working condition those Apple IIe's go for like $2,000?
They can, yeah, on eBay, which is really sad to
Crazy.
see because there's a floppy drive for the Apple IIe computer. And a pair of goggles. So that's a dissection kit, probably from the science room.
Mhm.
And a crawfish, which they probably
the
dissected.
ectoskeleton.
The exit. Yes, exactly. So a lot of tools, a lot of dissecting, and somebody just decided to open up and let those guys out. So here's a cool bathroom. Now, again, I had to put my respirator on because you never know what you're going to find in the bathroom and all that white stuff on the floor.
Oh, that's what you find in the restroom is a whole
And a
bowl full
whole
of crap.
bowl full of, I don't know.
This was kind of cool. We found a picture of what we suspect is like a couple of the kiddos that were there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And another inside joke, the meanwhile. Oh,
no,
no.
we passed the
No, we
meanwhile
did,
one.
yes.
This is when you were talking about your love for Oregon Trail.
So many good memories.
Chemistry matters.
So a chemistry of matter book in a room that is completely covered in, well, black mold on the ceilings. There's a 7-Up machine.
Oh, that's why.
Pretty classic.
We suspected that was the principal's office, or the office area, because I kid.
Yeah.
That's a funny graffiti right there. But yeah, so it had like an additional office in the back. We suspected it was probably the principal's office.
Yeah. Now I don't know about this. Somebody decided to have a party, and I'm trying to decide why would they have a party in an abandoned school with those things, which isn't real champagne.
No, those are actual banks.
Yeah, and lots of White Castle
for coins. Money.
Somebody was hungry.
and White Castle and
Somebody was really craving the big pack there.
Dunkin' Donuts, and of course I have to throw in an Adam the Woo reference,
Yeah.
as
If you haven't noticed by now, like our styles are closely related to, or we can actually compare our styles to Dan Bell and Adam the Woo.
they were kind of inspirations for the channel. When we had first started Cypro Paranormal, Mike and I would always go and scout these buildings back in 2009, and we would go to abandoned buildings and just look around. We never thought that there would ever be an audience for people that are interested in seeing what we see. And we started seeing that those two were the main people that produced abandoned buildings, and they were fun to watch. We're like, let's do that, let's record it. We're going to do this stuff anyway.
We're now at the lower level of the school. We were at the above levels before, but this is like a staff bathroom. It kind of threw me off that this upcoming, what would you call it, reminder.
Sanitary napkins, tampons,
Yeah.
or the like.
So
Because that reminder just doesn't make sense, like English-wise.
I don't know. I got nothing there.
When you're in a school, you would think that the staff that created those reminders would actually be able to finish a thought there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Sometimes we struggle with that, though.
That's true.
Okay, so this guy, I mean, look at those cool lasers in the background. This guy was awesome. It's like, yeah. And I actually had those CDs. Those came with a really old Packard Bell that I got in 1995. And those were the pack-in CDs for that. And this is obviously probably a computer room. That was the main server up there. The computer's gone, but you see the Cat5 cables up there for the computers.
And some surprisingly intact.
And another view of the awesome cabinetry. Here we are going downstairs. This is where...
I just noticed that we just mixed that one clip of that staff bathroom and put it up in the other clip.
Oh, well...
Mistakes happen in editing.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the very beginning.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
So this is the gym area, the additional gym area, and lunch area.
Yes, this is where we had to go down a flight of stairs, and we didn't realize at the time when we were recording this that there are no exits. And you could see how I am hesitating to go in this classroom, which is probably a music room, because I see this baseball bat on the ground, And I'm like,
Where's the baseball bat at?
oh, it's down there.
I would have totally switched my golf club out for a baseball bat.
So I see this baseball bat down there, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm not gonna go in here. But I sort of recorded it anyway.
Here is the lunch area where the kiddos would eat.
A lot of graffiti in here. And some really talented people. I mean, I'm not big on graffiti. I think that it's obnoxious, but when it's good, it's good.
Yeah. Like Bazooka. Whoever wrote Bazooka, that's not good graffiti. Bad idea.
Oh, I still don't understand it.
But whoever created, like, let's say, this one on the left when we get over here, that was pretty dang creative.
Yeah. And yeah, we're getting to it. There it is.
There we go.
So that
That's
was
pretty
cool.
talented.
Yeah. And here are the books.
Oh, hold on. Oh, we didn't get that blurred out all the way, did we?
We got what we needed blurred out. It was a very, very, very gratuitous, raunchy, just
Graffiti.
awful graffiti.
It made me giggle a lot, but we have viewers that are under 18, so
Yeah, and we don't want to be flagged. It was that raunchy. But I take it what they did was they probably put the books in here for auction, and those books didn't sell at auction, so they decided we'll just leave them there.
I bet you it's right here.
And there they are.
Mess.
And I mentioned this in the video. Every video we have, there's one lone chair that I tend to call the tweaker chair. There's the one in this video, so if you've been missing the chair, there it is. Behind it is a freezer. And more of the graffiti. You can tell that my shots are getting a little bit more unstable.
Oh, so like for every hospital, you always want to find the morgue. For every school, you always want to find the pool. And the pool is one that we did find. But everybody pushed all the vacuum cleaners and the tool boxes and everything inside the pool. So
What do you think that is? Like,
Yeah, and at this point, I'm ready to get out of this place because I'm starting to hear people walking about the entire building, and I don't know who's in there at this point. So I'm ready to go, but Mike's like, "Hey, we still have a whole other part of the school to explore," and I'm pretty nervous at this point.
oh, I love that one.
Yeah, pretty artsy.
Here's
And
the other gem.
this is the bigger gym. That floor is not stable to walk on, so we didn't even chance at going down there on that floor just because it is completely water damaged. You can see it's split right down the middle.
And pushed upwards.
Yeah. So in order to not fall through the floor into I don't know what's underneath it, we decided not to chance it and go on that floor. And that's the trophy case.
Yeah, that's where all the trophies were for their wins at various schools and whatnot. Never found any of those.
No, we found a lot of ROTC stuff though.
And one of our viewers thought that was a blood stain. It's kind of like a schmuck.
Schmuck.
Oh, look at that. There's my weapon.
Yeah.
I would have rather had that baseball if you would have let me know about it. Baseball bat.
Yeah. More abandoned books, and you can see that Mike is walking towards what looks to be a door. When we realize that this door is completely sealed, we're like, we gotta go.
Like when we say completely sealed, we mean they welded it shut.
Absolutely. And one of the rules that we have for urban exploring is that you have to have a clear view of the exit. And we did not. In fact, I was so turned around I didn't even know where we were in the school. But now we get to the fun part.
All right, here it is. Walking down, you know that I have that thing, or the putter, so I smacked this can of whipped cream just thinking I'm going to get it out of the way. Well, that's the aftermath of that, and Jamie got it in the face, on his camera, on his body. It was just like he looked like a sponsor for whipped cream.
I was covered,
Yellow whipped cream.
I was covered head to toe, and it was absolutely disgusting. It went in my mouth. It tasted gross. It was like sugar, powdered milk, and I had no idea at this point that I was recording. So it turned out pretty good because I didn't know it was on. But we're ready to get out of here. At this point,
Yeah,
I'm starting.
April says we're not the only ones alone, and then
And as soon as I hit that door, I could immediately smell marijuana.
Yep.
it was like Snoop Dogg was chilling in there.
He might have been. Yeah, but I was not ready to find out who was in there and what they were doing. I'm not there to bust anybody. We're just there to get some pretty cool shots.
So, if you are inclined to do so, feel free to follow us on Facebook, subscribe to Cypro Extras, the Cypro Paranormal, and visit us over at that Patreon account.
We fund everything out of pocket. Anything that you can donate helps to pay for trips to faraway lands
Gas, equipment, all that fun stuff.
and a beautiful performance by Mike.
Definitely. Hope you guys have a good weekend.
Later, yo.
Peace!